This is a continuation of the Southgate House EVP video. Part 2 is going to focus on the two apparitions I saw there, or the two things I saw within my mind's eye doing my psychic medium work. Each of these are included in what I call my psychic medium journal. It's a journal that I use to draw illustrations of all the spirits I see. And there are a lot of them. But these two are from the Southgate House. So this is John headed into the basement of the Thompson house. Night shot is on, camcorder is on. Can't really see a ton. It's always loud though. That bad, I've already got that far. So I'm headed back into the prison area. Yeah, I heard that. So what I'm going to do is set the camcorder up. Is there anyone down here who would like to speak to me? Tagging that. Could you tell me your name? I was trying to be comfortable, but this fucking area is creepy back there. I'll deal with it. Now, most of the night we were in and around the Southgate house. You know, I was on the first floor, the second floor, up in the steeple. But we did a tour originally in the basement of the place. And after doing the tour, I went back down there by myself, and I felt creeped out. There was a point where I was like, hey, you know, I felt really creepy, and I had to step away for a second. And if you've seen some of my other videos, now, having been out there a bit and opening myself up to the things that might be lurking in some of these places, I can say that for me to get creeped out like that, there must have been something down there. And as you can see, there was something down there that was a bit intelligent that reacted to me. While I was in the basement of the Southgate house, I experienced one of my first shadow mist or shadow-like apparitions. I was down there on the steps by myself conducting a solo EVP session, and I asked it, you know, are you trying to intimidate somebody? Are you trying to make somebody scared? And out of nowhere, from the left-hand side room, this dark shadow comes out in like a mist-like apparition. Just zooms right past me.
There's someone down here who would like to speak. Who are you? I feel you. I know you're here. Are you trying to make someone nervous? Whoa. What was that? Holy shit, let me go tell them about that. Totally just saw a shadow run by.
Let me just take a moment to really describe what I saw. Now, I was sitting there, and this thing did rush out past me. And the speed at which it moved was unlike anything I had ever seen. It's almost like a light. If you shine a light into a room, it quickly illuminates the room, and it's the speed of light. But this shadow, it moved in a very similar fashion in terms of speed. I could see it because the contrast was drastic. I mean, this was one of the darkest darks I had ever seen. It was similar to like Vanta Black. If you've seen Vanta Black, it's a new, deeper, richer black that they've made. But it was so dark and it moved so quick that it was just completely fluid in motion. out of the room, past me, quick as could be, and it hovered off the ground about a foot. Now, the texture of this thing was like a mist. It's hard to describe a mist, but it was almost like, you ever see those movies where they're horror movies, supernatural movies, where like something takes on a dark form and it starts to just tangle within the air, and like it goes in somebody's nose or it runs off. It sort of had that, except for it was much more composed. It was like if you could think of osmosis, like it stayed together, it moved, and it congregated to where it needed to be, but it went just super quick. Now, the darkness of this thing was almost like looking into a void. It was just the blackest black I'd ever seen, and it was so black that when I see it in my head, and I replay the image in my head, because I very much can see the image in my head, and it's like I could have reached into this darkness and went into another section. If you can see in the image, I tried to really put a deeper black in there to show that some portions of it were just so, it was like space. Never been to space, obviously. But if there was ever something that looked like a portal, like if I would have just been in the wrong place at the wrong time and accidentally fell into this thing, it would have took me somewhere else. Hopefully somewhere cool. But it moved. It just rushed out of there. And this darkness that it had, in some YouTube videos you can see it. You can see something similar to it. I don't know how real they are, but in some of those Middle Eastern videos where they're either walking through the woods and they see something, and it's like it's got eyes. I have to see, can I find a picture, but it's very similar to that, except for it was a live moving thing. You know, a picture and video doesn't do enough justice to how this thing was. To see it live and to see the motions of it, it was almost like it was just a separate living organism. But whatever we call on our dimension, or this interchange, or this play between where it's at and where we're at, it definitely looked like a void into something else. And it just moved. I mean, it moved so quickly. It's very interesting. So after I saw the shadow, I stepped away for a second. Sort of gathered myself, you know. It was a great moment. What I saw was amazing. And I went back in. And I took my camcorder with me because when I came out of the place and I said, "Oh, you guys, I saw a shadow," it was crazy. I talked to Dave, and then I talked to Wanda, and Wanda gave me probably one of the biggest lessons I've ever had. And she told me, you know, "Did you get it on video?" I said, "No, I didn't have my camcorder running." And she said to me, "Well, all it is a personal experience. If you don't have it on video, that's all you can really mark it as." So with her saying that, I picked up my camcorder and I took my ass back in there. And to this day, I try very hard to always have a camcorder on me to record whatever I'm doing, if it is at all possible. So this is Jonathan. Headed back to the basement. Just saw a shadow run by me. Really cool. Really cool. Never had that happen before. Okay. So I'm going to set this up somewhere. Let me see. I'm back. If you'd like to talk to me again. I just saw you run by, which is awesome. That doesn't happen a lot. So if you could you do that again for me? It did make me nervous. I'll give you that. I felt like I had to go tell somebody like immediately. Did you get that energy rise out of me that you wanted? How long did you have to stay here? Was it a long time? There's people upstairs. So I was sitting here, and the only reason I know it's not like there's no light, you know. There's light, but there's not enough where. Let me explain this to you. So I was sitting here, and the fucking thing had to be like this big, that far off the ground, and it just said right through, like a black mist running through. Ooh.
Somebody just said,
Hey.
that's the same thing I got last time I came down. Because
So I was down here a moment ago, and I saw a shadow run through here, and I like to try and identify a little bit with who you are. I've got a camera running, so if you did show yourself on that, I really like to thank you. Before I saw what I saw, I told you that you were trying to make people feel a little anxious down here. Maybe trying to rile them up, not so much rile them up a little, but make them feel nervous. I don't think that we should be feeling nervous down here, honestly. So I wanted to know, why would you do that?
He says cross,
Cross?
like crossover maybe?
Do you need that attention? Do you need someone in here that can move you on? If you need someone to move you on, we have people that can do that for you. Or if you prefer to stay down here, that's fine. I do understand that a lot of you tend to stick around because you have unresolved issues or some things that are keeping you here. Is there someone here that you're staying for? If it's not a person, is it a place? Are you attached to this property? Is there maybe a loved one? Are you here because there was some kind of physical or emotional trauma that happened that you can't quite adjust to? And so I really would like to make you aware that once you walk into that light, things are renewed. That feeling of guilt and attachment or that uncontentment will be gone. Did something happen to one of your legs, perhaps? I'm feeling a tingling on my leg. There's some energy on my leg I'd like to know more about. Did you have a problem walking? Was there torture, perhaps? Maybe an injury? I feel like I'm speaking to a male. Sir, could you give one of us your name? Now, I also wanted to take this time to talk about the woman I saw in the Southgate House up in the like ballroom area that connects to the steeple. She was interesting because when I originally saw her, I was doing a EVP maker session. And I was getting some responses over there. But when I saw her children first. I saw these two kids come down from the steeple, run through the ballroom, and then out into the other section of the Southgate House. They were either going downstairs or to the other part of that floor. Now, they ran right by me. They didn't pay me any attention. I want to say either they just didn't notice me or they were residual. But after looking at them, I look up to my left and there she is staring at me. It wasn't a menacing stare like she was just ready to destroy me. She wasn't necessarily upset. She was just like any mother. She was just being protective. She didn't know who I was, but she saw me. She was looking right at me. Very intelligent. I mean, I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if multiple people see her or experience her in some way in that ballroom or up there in the steeple. And you'll hear next that she actually responded to me through EVP, which further proves to me that she is an intelligent spirit.
You can hear outside up here, or the very top. Or the very top.
You know, something else I wanted to mention about the woman was, when you think about what I had said regarding the shadow mist down in the basement, just the general feeling I got from that mist, and just the basement itself, it was creepy. You can see in the video, I went down there once, came back out, then went back down there again, and sort of pressed the issue saying, hey, you're trying to creep me out, aren't you? And then the shadow appeared. Now up here with this woman, there definitely was not the same energy. She at no time between me being in the ballroom and me being up in the steeple put an energy on me that made me feel creeped out or oppressed. I felt generally welcome in the ballroom. The stare she gave me was apparent, you know, protecting my babies. Don't really want me in the area. But when I went up to the steeple, I mean, she made it well known she didn't want me up there. But she never pressed me to the point where I felt like I had to run back down that steeple because something was either draining energy from me or putting an oppressive bind on me. Because sometimes these spirits, they feed off this emotional energy. If they want your energy, they'll use it, and then they'll use it to manifest. And that manifestation may come in the form of an EVP like you heard. It may come in PK movement, poltergeist movement, where something moves. Or it could just be an effect on your general mood where you go from the happiest person in the world to sort of in a depressed state. But getting back to the point, she did not put that energy on me. But she made it very well known that this was sort of her area. I wish I knew more about her. I'm going to try and go back at some point though.